Hey everyone, welcome to Restaurant Tech Trends, where we explore restaurant technology trends with some of the industry's biggest movers and shakers in a rapid fire short interview format. Today's podcast is produced by Incept AI. Incept AI is focused on taking restaurant orders over the phone and in noisy drive-thrus with friendliness and precision. Learn more at incept.ai. Now, on to the reason why we're here and our guest. Today, I'm joined by Anthony Valletta, who is CEO and president of Bartaco, which is an upscale street food concept with a coastal vibe that's blended smart service design with digital ordering to create a really distinctive guest experience. Under Anthony's leadership, Bartaco has leaned into a hybrid digital on-prem experience and is now expanding across the United States. I'm excited to dig into growth, culture, and how tech is powering their next chapter. Anthony, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Happy to be here, Justin. Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited to be chatting with you here today. So first of all, you stepped into the CEO role, I think, just this year. I'm curious, what are your top priorities right now? Has anything changed since you started in the role?
Yeah, I think the major top priorities and for today, we're really looking at our tech stack, find the next generation of what we're going to be doing to really make sure that we're really focusing on that guest engagement, guest hospitality component, and kind of getting back to the roots of what the brand was all about. We turn 15 this year, so we're doing a retro series and kind of bringing back the nostalgia of what the brand was really built on in terms of food offerings, value offerings, and then also utilizing a lot of the data that we have to really kind of elevate the personalization for our guests this year.
I definitely am looking forward to talking a little bit more about that. I'm curious for your concept. Historically, you've had a really interesting model where you've had the ordering with the QR code at the table, you have the service leader role. I'm curious today, how are you deciding which parts of the guest journey need to remain sort of high touch hospitality versus where tech should take more of the lead?
Yeah, great question. I mean, the goal of it was always to create more high touch hospitality. That was the idea behind the service model, the initial QR and the service leaders that we adopted was to allow our team more time to engage the guests, more time to create incredible experiences. And we're still continuing to go down that path. The one thing that we've done of late, when we look at our tech stack, is they say meet your guests where they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And our consumers had told us that there was some great convenience of the digital ordering. There was the rapid fire pay, which was nice. There was the historical information that we stored, which was great. And then just the ease of access of, I want another drink. I don't see my server really quickly. I can tap and I can order. Some people loved it and from the get go just said, this is fantastic. I can control my own destiny. And some really wanted that server kind of guiding them and push them along the way.
Right.
So the goal of what we've done is to be able to continue to offer an NFC chip on the table. The QR will kind of go away. There's a little bit of a COVID implication when you see a QR code, but the NFC chip will be there. You can use it to pay, to order, to control the whole experience. It's kind of a use it as much or as little as you'd like, but it's done without the friction. The QR we initially started, there was a lot of details in terms of caption, building your profile and verifying your phone number, all these things that were creating more of a challenge to get into the system. We're now alleviating most of those things. So the idea now is that we brought back the traditional server versus service leaders before to guide this experience. But as they start off, the guests choose any bit they want to do. They can go traditional service, they can do full digital, and they can use both for kind of their own pleasure. So that's been a really big focus of ours of just finding ways to enhance the level of touch points to your point with our consumers, elevate hospitality, engagement, and guiding the experience, but utilizing the technology for those friction points, ease of service, ease of payment, and also just to gather that data so we can be more personalized with our consumers in the future. That's kind of the ultimate goal where we're heading.
So walk me through what a guest experience would look like. If I'm walking into a bar taco today, am I greeted by a host, taken to my table? Is my server explaining to me, hey, you can order with me, or hey, we have this NFC option you can use to like browse the menu? What are they saying exactly? What does that experience look like?
Yeah, great question. So they are greeted by a host now, sit at their table, the server will walk up and we'll give them that option. Just ask if they've been here before. Guests that have are very familiar with the QR code or the NFC chip. So we'll tell them that's available in there for your leisure. I'm also here to take care of you. The perfect role that we're looking for in this hybrid experience is we have a handheld. We get the first drink and maybe your guac and chips started, right? Let's get the process going.
Mm-hmm.
Because the challenge we found even with the QR before is the consumer takes some time to get into the system, to browse through, to select. So that time just elongates both the turn time for us as the business
Mm.
and also elongates the time that they get their first drink. It's a longer process. So our goal was let's get drink and some salsa on the table right away, as fast as we can. Allow the guests to either peruse digitally, peruse on a paper menu, and order through me, and we walk them kind of through that out of the gates. So again, the perfect experience would be I take your order for just drinks and some guac, you perusing on digital. You might already have your order placed by the time I get back in a few moments. And then from there, if your drink is half empty, I can ask you, you can order it yourself. And then when you finish, the idea is I tap and I Apple Pay and I leave.
I
Everybody's
love it.
used to retail. It's become, the common payment, right? So we wanted to make sure we're in that exact same boat for our guests.
I love this model. It's definitely combining the best of both worlds, high touch and high tech, getting the food out faster, making it a better guest experience, get the drinks out faster as well, and giving
Right.
the guests time to browse on their own time what they want to order for their tacos.
That's
It's
right.
very cool. All right, well, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about this catering push that you guys have been making. So I know there's been a big push for catering. What operational or digital lessons from off-prem have you translated best to group occasions and large orders?
Yeah, we found our off-prem was interesting. When we first started, we didn't do any bit of third party before COVID, like I'm sure a lot of restaurants out there.
Right.
But the one thing is tacos don't carry well to go. I mean, we do street style tacos. They're only, a few inches wide, and the tortillas would, dissolve. And it would be terrible. So when we built our third party platform, we did what's called taco packs, or 4 packs or 8 packs. So
Mm-hmm.
the deconstructed taco all comes in a nice box. And consumers we found really enjoyed that way of eating. And we found that people were actually ordering these 8 packs, but in multiple quantities. We said, okay, clearly we're missing something, right? We need to kind of lean into this large scale ordering. And our food, not too similar from barbecue, I think does the best job at catering. It's easy, right? Half
Mm-hmm.
pint or a pint, how many pounds of meat, and it's so simple. And our menu kind of leans somewhat similar in that aspect of, let's pick your protein, we'll take care of the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So when we leaned into catering, one, it was amazing first year and now second year success for us. But the digital piece that we really learned was that the ease of just ordering an 8 pack and saying, I have nothing else to worry about. It's not, I go to a taco and a side, and then there's so much noise to a lot of catering. We simplified the entire thing for them. And that all came from our data from both in-house takeout as well as third party, like DoorDash and Uber Eats. And those applications that we continue to streamline the menu and consolidate, but it's working out really well.
You mentioned using data, and you mentioned this in the beginning as well. And we talked about some of the changes that are happening with QR codes and moving to this new hybrid centric model. How are you using data strategically today to drive loyalty, frequency, check, guest insights? What are the strategic things you're doing with your guest data today?
We could do a whole hour podcast on it, but in quick summary, I think the key data is like the new currency. I think the key is that because we have these individual 4.7 million individual records on our consumer behaviors.
Wow.
The idea for us, we don't have a loyalty program. I think it's another story for a different time, but I believe it's about personalization, right? I
Okay.
need to understand the consumer behavior. So if you come in and you're ordering vegetable tacos routinely, I should be sending you items about vegetable tacos, right?
Right.
And that's a very simplistic use of what we're doing. But the idea is it's really, we're trying to take the data and segment down every part of that by date part, by consumer set, by demographic set, by geography, and really understand like what are the main drivers of the business,
Mm.
right? And how do they dictate back to guest satisfaction? Well, that's the big key is that if somebody orders tacos on a check versus a rice bowl, is their sentiment higher or lower? It's that level of granular detail that we're going into. We partnered with AI software that's been exceptional, helping us really segment this down to just such a minutia level that we're really able to get super specific versus these kind of broad scale things you see out in the industry as a whole.
Yeah, a couple of the guests that I've had on here recently are in the CDP space, and we talked a lot about how some of these platforms can really help drive menuing decisions or learning like certain items that aren't selling as well. What changes can you make to those items? Have you seen anything like that as you drill into your data to either pull items off or make any changes to the way that you're serving items? Have there been any big wins that you can talk about there?
Yeah, one of the biggest ones we had, rice bowls, which are popular, right? Kava and Chipotle, everybody's doing these great rice bowls.
Mm-hmm.
We had them, but they were very traditional. It was rice with some raw peppers and onions and a protein.
Mm-hmm.
And we had seen that there wasn't a lot of room for check improvement. There wasn't a lot of room for incrementality, and there wasn't a lot of satisfaction tied to them. It was like, it was good, which is the worst word you can use in our industry, right? It's just good. So
True.
we really looked into the details of what is the consumer segment doing, when are they ordering it, how are they ordering it, what else happens to the check when you have a rice bowl versus something else.
Mm,
And from that, we chose to do two tiers of elevated rice bowls, like a premium and kind of an entry one.
I
And when
see.
we adjusted those and really worked in the flair profile, so what we learned on our tacos and the success we had from sentiment there, we translated back to the rice bowls. We added these on, and the success we had was insane. I mean, we increased. I think it was, I don't know the exact number, but something like, I think we 8 to 9% of orders for rice bowls. It's at 15%. We
Wow.
drove lunch sales within 30 days. Our lunch sales, which is our big focus, literally were on an upward trajectory of comp positive. So that's one example of many things that we've done that have really helped us improve our R&D in a really intelligent way using data.
That's awesome. I love that example. That's a great one. Let's talk just generally technology, restaurant industry. If you could wave a magic wand right now and get one industry-wide tech standard adopted, what would it be and why would it matter for your growth?
For me, it's the streamlined personalization that I talked about earlier. Like people are starting to do it. You're in a cohort group, but you're not streamlined directly to you. Like the analogy I use is retail. You buy a washer and dryer, and for the next 6 months, you get nonstop ads about a washer and dryer. Like
Yeah.
I'm not your target consumer anymore. And in restaurants, we unfortunately do something similar. It's like I send out a message about a barbecue series to vegetarians. There's so many ways that if in the text there, it just hasn't drilled deep enough to be able to say, I'm talking specifically to Justin, and you open the email and say, they literally just described me, and my email is different. Or maybe it's the same, but the messaging is a little bit more curated based off of likes and dislikes. And I think that's where the world of CDP and AI and kind of messaging really kind of work in tandem.
Hmm.
And when those things come together and you get a message every day that feels like it is specific to you, that's the win for my growth and for the industry growth, I think.
For sure. Are you guys doing any menu personalization today? So if I go in and I order something, the next time I come in and I open up the menu on my phone, am I going to get suggestions or recommendations based on what I've ordered in the past? Or is that the
Correct.
future?
That's the tech that we just rolled that out this past Monday. Future state, there'll be suggested orders and historical orders that are all driven by AI.
I love it, man. That's incredible. Well, we like to. A lot of the people that watch this podcast are also in the tech ecosystem in the restaurant space. I'm curious if you have any favorite tech vendors, why you like them, and if you have any interesting success stories where vendors were critical.
Yeah, two that come to mind was Loop AI and Solink. Both been
Okay.
exceptional. Solink is a camera system that we have done countless amount of amazing things for our restaurant in terms of like security, employee paths. They've been a remarkable partner, and Loop has literally saved us thousands and thousands of dollars in terms of like third party activation, things of that nature. I mean, both of those two are, I could go on for a while, but they've been incredible partners and
Mm.
amazing platforms for our business.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, Anthony, we've finished all of our regular questions. Now we're going to move on to the rapid fire portion of this interview. For everyone, Anthony has no idea what these questions are, so we're going to see how he responds. Anthony, if you weren't in restaurants, what would you be doing right now?
I would probably be in accounting. That's my dad did.
Accounting. All right, I love it. Well, accounting and restaurants do go hand in hand, so that's a good one. All right, what's your go-to taco at Bar Taco?
Taco.
One leadership principle you absolutely would never compromise on.
I think it's ethics. Like you got to stand for what you believe in. You can't break that whatsoever.
All right. What is one market where you're most excited to open a bar taco next?
Ooh, that's a really good one. I think like the coastal Carolinas, like
Okay.
Wilmington, that area, we've been looking at. Really excited.
Your favorite hospitality book or podcast that you would recommend to rising leaders in the industry?
Yeah, I got to hand it to Will Gadar. Unreasonable Hospitality is exceptional. Very close second is The Power of Moments. I have our teams read both of those as typically part of their onboarding. It's a great one.
And last, fill in the blank. Great hospitality in 2026 will look like blank.
Personalization. That's what it's all about.
All right. Everybody, Anthony Valletta, CEO and president of Bar Taco. Anthony, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today.
Thanks for having me, Justin. Appreciate it.